On my last trip to North Pokot, I was in the village of Nakali, a very remote village, literally end of the road because we had actually cut down a road to get there. Visited the church that met on the side of the hill, saw lion tracks, talked to the people, and they said, yeah, that there are lions in the area, but there are many more lions 10 miles inward. It's a lot of lions and leopards, and then there's villages there that they don't believe there's any Christians there. Very remote, and so we decided on this trip to go there. So my son and two friends of mine were headed to try to find this remote village called Chemorongit and see if the people are there and if they've ever heard of Christ.
Okay, you're saying that traveling to Chemorongit is a very far place, and also it needs us to move early in the morning. During night time, then we must reach there about 12.
So tell me, how many hours of that of walking through the bush?
I think about around 12 hours.
12 hours
yes,
walking?
Walking.
Okay, I thought it was going to be 5, and then I heard it was going to be 8. Now, this must be God. If you'd told me 12 hours at the beginning, we wouldn't be here. The area, while it was dark, that they knew the lions were there. The way they did this, we have a guy that's with us, and he has a drum, and he'd always beat the drum when we're going through the areas that they think that the lions were there. So we went through this area, went 3 or 4 hours. We thought, well, we're getting close, because I thought it was around 10 miles. Well, they said it wasn't close. It got into the heat of the day. We found out later that day was somewhere around 115 degrees Fahrenheit. It was very hot. We started to run out of water. We still didn't know how long. We got in about 8 hours into the trip, and they pointed from a hill a mountain in a far distance. So to see that blue mountain, that's where we're going. We knew then we were in trouble. I had cramps in my legs. I turned a top sprain on my ankle, my left ankle, but they prayed and the Lord healed it within 5 minutes. It was fine, because if I got a bad ankle sprain, I'm crawling out. There's water in sight, they say.
I don't believe them.
But we're going to have to probably filter it through clothing.
I think they're pastors that are lying to us.
We're running out of food, we're running out, especially out of water. The heat was getting worse. As we kept going, we had to stop periodically, especially for me and some other people who were starting to have heat, symptoms of heat stroke.
I think people have come back here. I don't think they've ever returned. I think they bring you back here with all this nonsense that's just right over there. And people have never, I think people can be back here a lot. And they take your stuff, I think, and then they just don't know what happened to you.
So that's why we're doing this video. Hopefully. So after about 12 hours of walking, it started to get late afternoon, and we decided we better just stop, rest, send one of the Pokots on further to see if the village is really there and how far it was. We began to even have doubts. So we camped out, and that night a lot of the people from the village came. And they really welcomed us to come. They said they were only a couple hours away. And so we were really encouraged. So the next morning we broke camp and we headed out to the village.
Sweet. Karam. Karam.
They're very remote. We began to try to tell them how far away we were. I mentioned Nairobi. They've never heard of their capital city, Nairobi. These people were very isolated.
How is it, Brett?
So we started to make our descent down to the dry riverbed. We heard people singing, and I felt like the Lord began to give me a message. So we got there, and I got up, and they really respect older people with gray hair. And so they called us elders in their languages, wazees and Swahili. And so I told them that Tim and I were elders sent from our village called Olathe. And the Christians here sent us. We heard that they lived there in some area, and we went there to find them. But God gave us a message for them.
And in heaven, your names will be written. These are the Wazees who led their people into righteousness. Hallelujah!
On the way there, I knew that the trip was much harder than I thought. And we had prayed, God save everyone. And He did. So the whole village came to Lord. They were very excited. We left the next day. They sent one of their warriors with us with it looked like an AK-47 to protect us, because they knew how dangerous it was, and they knew that we were going through lion country. So we made our way back. This time we just slept on the trail. We were so exhausted. We would just lay down on the ground and sleep. We didn't even pitch a tent. And then we were able to make it back. But we still didn't have enough water, and the water that we purified locally, it just didn't taste good, but the Lord helped us to make it back.
Yeah, finished.
Woohoo!
Woo! Thank you, Lord, we made it.
Personally, in the middle of that trip, I didn't know if I was going to make it out alive. Then later, I knew I was going to make it, but I didn't know I'd ever go back. And then the Lord began to give me grace, and then I began to say, maybe in 1 year.